After years of struggling with bad breath and gum inflammation, this patient was completely stunned by a simple, natural rinse. That's what a 64-year-old patient named Felipe Villalba told me. He walked into my office defeated, and now he smiles with complete confidence. I'm not here to talk about expensive products or miraculous lab formulas. Instead, I want to tell you about a solution you can prepare at home with common ingredients, one that could help you get rid of those long-standing oral issues in a matter of days. And while it may sound unbelievable, this isn't just an isolated story or another home remedy. It's a natural method backed by science and decades of real experience with hundreds of patients. I'm a dentist with over 35 years of experience, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that some of the most impactful improvements I've seen in oral health didn't come from costly treatments, but from simple, well-applied natural practices. Throughout my career, I've treated thousands of cases of people just like you. Those with bleeding gums, persistent bad breath, loose teeth, or pain when chewing. And often, the real problem isn't your brushing or flossing routine. The true enemy lies deeper, in the bacteria hiding in the deepest corners of your mouth, fueled by acidity, chronic inflammation, and habits you don't even know about. But here's the amazing part. When these people started using the natural rinses I'm going to teach you about today, their mouths changed. Their lives changed. And you can do it too. This isn't your typical video that promises magical solutions. It's a clear, honest, and proven guide based on real, natural medicine. If you stay with me until the end, you'll not only discover the 7 most effective natural rinses to combat bad breath, treat periodontitis, and strengthen your oral health, but I'll also share a secret recipe, the same one that helped a woman recover from periodontitis that tormented her for over 25 years. Believe me, you don't need to spend a fortune. You need to understand the problem, be consistent, and use the right tools, which I'm going to give you today. The first thing you need to understand is that brushing alone isn't enough, and this is something many people still don't get. You can brush 3 times a day, use commercial mouthwash, and even floss, yet still have bad breath, inflamed gums, or bleeding.
Why?
Because there's an uncomfortable truth that's rarely mentioned. The most dangerous enemy isn't on the surface, it's hidden deep within. There are bacteria that live between your gums and teeth in areas where your toothbrush can't reach. These are anaerobic microorganisms that don't need oxygen and generate potent toxins, like butyric acid, one of the main culprits behind bad breath. These toxins don't just smell bad, they also inflame your gums, weaken your tooth roots, and cause pain when you bite or chew. In addition, when we don't properly eliminate this invisible plaque, it eventually turns into tartar. Hardened tartar acts like a rock stuck to your tooth, keeping inflammation active 24/7. This is called periodontitis, and if you don't treat it, you'll end up with loose teeth, permanent bad breath, and bone loss. Another key factor that's often ignored is the pH of your mouth. When you eat frequently, drink sugary beverages, or live with chronic stress, your mouth becomes more acidic. This acidity is the perfect habitat for bad bacteria to reproduce at high speed. It's a vicious cycle. And you know what the saddest part is? Many people don't even realize what's happening until it's too late, until they can't eat without pain, or until the dentist tells them a tooth needs to be extracted that could have been saved with a different kind of care. That's why I want you to pay attention to these 6 silent symptoms. If you have one or more, it's time to act. 1. Constant bad breath, even after you brush. 2. Bleeding gums when you brush or bite something hard. 3. Inflamed, sensitive, or receding gums. 4. Teeth that feel looser or have started to shift. 5. A dry or sticky mouth sensation, especially upon waking. 6. Slight pain when chewing or touching your gums. If you recognize yourself in any of these, don't worry, you're not alone. And most importantly, the solution is in your hands. From here, we'll get into what you really care about. The 7 natural rinses that have transformed the oral health of thousands of people. Rinse number 1. Warm water with sea salt. Yes, it's that simple, yet so powerful. After brushing, rinse for 30 seconds with warm sea salt water. The salt has antibacterial properties, dehydrates pathogenic bacteria through osmosis, reduces gum inflammation, and speeds up natural healing. Why warm? Because warm water boosts the absorption of minerals and the heat helps to soothe inflamed tissues. The ideal dose is half a teaspoon of sea salt in a glass of water. Let me tell you about Pedro Aguilar, a 70-year-old retiree who for years suffered from bleeding gums every time he brushed. His dentist told him it was normal with age, but he wasn't resigned and sought a second opinion with me. I recommended he start rinsing with warm salt water every night. In 1 week, the bleeding decreased. In 3 weeks, it was gone. His wife says his breath even changed. He used to talk to me up close and I'd turn away, she confessed, laughing. Today, Mr. Aguilar smiles with peace of mind. And if it seems too salty or uncomfortable, no problem. You can start with a lower concentration and increase it little by little. The important thing is to do it consistently, because your body responds to what you do every day, not what you do perfectly just once. Rinse number 2. Edible baking soda. This is one of the best kept and most underrated secrets. Baking soda is an alkalizing agent, which means it regulates your mouth's pH and neutralizes the acidic environment where the bacteria responsible for bad breath and plaque thrive. And do you know what the best part is? It's cheap, easy to find, and effective. You just need half a teaspoon of edible baking soda dissolved in a glass of water and rinse for 30 seconds every night right before bed. I'm talking about Carmen Rios. She came to me frustrated, saying no pharmacy mouthwash would get rid of her bad breath. I feel clean after brushing, but when I wake up, my mouth feels like I haven't brushed at all, she said. I recommended this alkaline rinse for 3 weeks. By the 2nd week, she was already noticing a difference. But what moved her the most was when her 8-year-old grandson said, "Grandma, you don't smell bad when you give me a kiss anymore." It brought her to tears. And in case you're wondering, will this wear down my teeth? No, baking soda won't wear down your teeth if you use it only as a rinse. Don't rub it or apply it with a toothbrush. Just dissolve it in water, rinse, and spit. It's a wonderful tool for getting rid of acidic residue after a long day and protects you while you sleep. Rinse number 3. Diluted apple cider vinegar. Yes, the same stuff you might use for salad dressing, but when diluted correctly, it becomes an extremely effective cleaning and antibacterial agent for your mouth. Apple cider vinegar contains acetic acid, which kills harmful bacteria, regulates pH, and helps break down soft tartar before it hardens. But it must be used with caution, never undiluted. The correct formula is 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in a glass of water, and use it only 2 or 3 times a week, never daily. I should warn you that it might taste strong at first, but it's a matter of getting used to it. Armando Morales, 72, from Rosario, Argentina, used it for 2 months, following the directions exactly. At first, he was afraid because he had read online that vinegar could damage tooth enamel. I explained that if you rinse well with clean water afterward and dilute it properly, there's no risk. 2 months later, his dentist told him his gum inflammation had been cut in half. But the most important thing was what he told me: "I feel clean, I feel fresh. It's like my mouth is breathing better." And yes, if you have periodontitis or very sensitive gums, this rinse can make a big difference. Just remember not to eat or drink anything for 30 minutes afterward to let the antibacterial effect work. Do you see what's happening here? You're not learning cheap tricks. You're learning how to rebalance your mouth, how to create a hostile environment for bad bacteria and a good one for regeneration. And you're doing it from your own kitchen, without paying for products with unpronounceable names. No side effects, no unnecessary risks. These first 3 rinses are powerful on their own, but the best is yet to come. Rinse number 4. Unsweetened green tea or yerba mate infusion. This is a method I discovered during my training in Europe. In dental clinics in Germany and the Netherlands, it's common for patients to use antioxidant plant infusions as a daily rinse.
Why?
Because certain natural polyphenol, like the catechins in green tea or the compounds in yerba mate, have an impressive ability to slow down bacterial growth and strengthen gums. And here in our land, we also have our own. If you can't get good green tea, you can use mild yerba mate or guava leaf infusion. The important thing is that it has no sugar and isn't too hot. Lydia Ramirez, 68, had tried everything, but her gums were still inflamed. I suggested she make mild green tea or mate infusions, let them cool, and use them as a rinse in the morning, right after brushing. In just 10 days, she noticed her gum color improved, and her mouth felt fresh all day. The key is to infuse for 3 minutes in warm water, let it cool completely, and then rinse for 30 seconds. You can do this every morning. I assure you, it's one of the gentlest, most pleasant, and effective rinses you can add to your routine. And if you also drink it as a sugar-free beverage, you'll be taking care of your body inside and out. Rinse number 5. Clove infusion. Now we're getting into a rinse that very few people know about, but that has saved more gums than you can imagine. Cloves, yes, the ones used in cooking to flavor desserts or teas, contain eugenol, a compound with analgesic and antibacterial effects so powerful that it's still used today in dentistry as the base for some temporary cements. The wonderful thing is that you can harness its benefits naturally. How do you prepare it? Boil 4 or 5 cloves in a cup of water for 3 to 5 minutes. Let it cool. Use that infusion as a rinse twice a week, especially if you have pain, very sensitive gums, or advanced periodontitis. Ernesto Navarro, 67, came to my office in desperation. I can't stand the pain when I chew. His periodontitis was so advanced that he was afraid of losing teeth and wasn't willing to pay for expensive treatments. I suggested he use the clove infusion as a rinse, alternating with the others. In 3 weeks, his pain had decreased, and his gums were bleeding less. Today, with a consistent routine, he has managed to stabilize his oral health without medication. And one more thing, don't chew the clove directly because the flavor is very strong. The power of the clove is released better with heat and water, as in an infusion. Also, you can find cloves in any market, herbal shop, or natural food store in your city. Rinse number 6. Diluted 3% hydrogen peroxide solution. This rinse is one of the most powerful and also one of the most misused, which is why I want you to pay special attention. Hydrogen peroxide, when used correctly, disinfects deep gum areas, eliminates pus in inflamed spots, oxygenates tissues, and reduces bacteria with incredible effectiveness. But be careful, it should never be used undiluted. It must be diluted in equal parts with water. That is, half a glass of water and half a glass of 3% hydrogen peroxide, no more. Only that. Use it just once a week as a deep clean. Teresa Avila, 71, had suffered from chronic periodontitis for more than 15 years. Surgery was recommended, but she didn't want to go under the knife. She started using this rinse once a week, every Saturday, as part of her routine. In 3 months, we were able to confirm that the level of inflammation had drastically reduced, her breath improved, and so did her self-esteem. And for the effect to be complete, first rinse with a diluted hydrogen peroxide, and then do a final rinse with clean water. This will remove any residue and prolong the effects. These 3 rinses, the tea or yerba mate, the clove, and the diluted hydrogen peroxide, form the basis of what I call deep care. They aren't used every day, but when you strategically incorporate them, you speed up recovery, strengthen your gums, and reduce the pockets of infection that often hide where even the best toothbrush can't reach. And you don't have to use them all at the same time. Soon I'll show you how to combine them according to your symptoms and give you a simple weekly routine you can adapt to your habits. But first, let me give you the 7th and final rinse, one that surprises everyone with its aroma, its refreshing effect, and its ability to completely change an older person's breath. And yes, it also comes from your kitchen. Rinse number 7. Cinnamon stick infusion. Cinnamon isn't just an aromatic spice. It contains a compound called cinnamaldehyde with potent antimicrobial properties. When you prepare it as a gentle infusion and use it as a rinse, it reduces the bacteria that cause bad breath, helps balance your oral flora, and leaves a warm, clean feeling in your mouth. The key is to use cinnamon sticks, also called Ceylon cinnamon, not powder. Boil a stick in a cup of water for about 5 minutes. Let it cool and rinse with that infusion 3 times a week. Let me tell you about Javier Urrutia, 63. He had strong morning breath that no toothpaste could get rid of. He began using this rinse on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights. In 2 weeks, his wife told him, "You finally smell like you, not like medicine." His oral bacteria count dropped by 80%, and most importantly, he regained the confidence to have a conversation without feeling self-conscious. Plus, if you suffer from diabetes or dry mouth, this rinse is especially helpful because it helps maintain a bacterial balance without drying out your mucous membranes. Now that you know the 7 rinses, I want to give you the most important part, a personalized guide based on your symptoms so you don't get lost in the number of options. 1. If your main problem is bad breath, use a sea salt and baking soda rinse daily and add the cinnamon infusion 3 times a week. 2. If you have periodontitis, inflamed gums, bleeding, or loose teeth, use the apple cider vinegar and clove rinses, alternating them throughout the week. In this case, add a deep clean with hydrogen peroxide once a week. 3. If you have frequent gum bleeding, use warm salt water every day and always finish with a rinse of cold water to constrict the vessels and stop the bleeding. 4. If you have a constant dry mouth or bad taste upon waking, use green tea or yerba mate infusion every morning and add cinnamon to regulate breath and oral moisture. Today you've learned more than you would in many dentist visits. You've discovered that oral health can be restored with natural, consistent, and simple methods. You don't need magic formulas, just consistency, awareness, and a little self-love. Believe me, your mouth isn't just for eating or talking. It's a direct gateway to your overall health, your self-esteem, and your relationships. Share this knowledge with someone who needs it. And if after hearing this you thought, I have that problem, do yourself a favor and start tonight. Do it for yourself, for your family, and for your well-being. And if you'd like, leave a comment below that says, I'm starting my natural rinse today. Thank you for joining me until the end, and I'll see you in the next one.